Salutations, respected viewers. This is George from Ireland, and I'm at Charing Cross in London. And that is the actual cross of Charing Cross, though it does not resemble what's commonly called a cross. This is a memorial to Eleanor of Castile, who was Queen of England. Oh my goodness, a bit difficult to remember now. Under the reign of Edward III, as in she was his queen consort. And I'm trying to think when he became king. Because never mind, I shan't get bogged down in that. So this is not the original one, it's a replica. She died near Lincoln and she was embalmed. Part of her body was buried in Lincoln Cathedral, but most of it was taken down to Westminster Abbey. And every time that her bier stopped for a night, as in the what would I call it, the platform carrying her coffin, they built a cross there. Probably didn't so immediately. And if you were to drive through the countryside from Lincoln to here, at various places you would see these crosses. But they're actually not crosses, they're rebuilt in stone since. Anyway, it was a London landmark for centuries, but in 1647 the Commonwealth tore it down. I don't mean the Commonwealth of Nations, I mean at the time of the British Republic, when Oliver was Cromwell was Lord Protector. It was the English Civil War was still on. It wasn't quite obvious that Oliver Cromwell was the Supremo, because they thought it was idolatry, it was redolent of Catholicism, because of course England, like everywhere else in Western Europe, was a Catholic country until the 16th century. And so that was that. And if you look closely, you'd see some heraldic symbols, some images of saints up top. Anyway, it was reconstructed in 1863. The Church of England had undergone the Oxford movement, and the Anglicans, they were reconnecting with their Catholic roots. They could be Anglo-Catholics, some of them, but they were not Roman Catholics. We'll talk about priests as priests, address their priest as father, believe in sacraments, if you even believe in transubstantiation, all the rest of it. Go back in for what would the expression be? Iconography, and not be so into biblical literalism. But the Pope was not the head of the church. They still thought the monarch here was the head of the church. That's why they're Anglicans, not Roman Catholics. So that's why it became more acceptable to put this up. And I don't know of anyone objecting to that at the time. And here it stood ever since. And there's Charing Cross station behind it. So there is some debate as to the etymology of Charing Cross. Is it chère reine, as in dear queen, or not? And some people say no, it's a rather different. This Anglo-Saxon word charing is for turning point, because there's a bend in the River Thames behind. So the Thames is only about a quarter of a mile behind me. Used to be even nearer, but then in 1863 they began to build the embankment, because the Thames was much wider and used to flood quite regularly. But now we dredge the river, we have drainage channels, we have the Thames flood relief barrier. So on the side to this there's a factory, and that's where Charles Dickens worked, in that boot polish factory in the 1830s when he was a teenager. Or 1820s really, late 1820s. Okay, so that's enough of Charing Cross.